2025 6th generation Toyota 4Runner. This is the SR5, the base package. I do think this is the best buy in the entire 2025 4Runner lineup. The price barely went up. I think it's like $190 for the all-wheel drive, or should I say the 4x4 variant, compared to the 5th gen model. So we're going to look at the lighting in tonight's review. On the outside, the inside, we're going to take it for a drive and maybe do a 0 to 60 along the way and talk about just how fantastic Toyota has made this new 2025 6th gen 4Runner. All right, so first things first, I didn't talk much about the design in my daytime review, but I do think this double handlebar mustache grille looks pretty decent in this black model. It's a little bit more evident how strange it looks when you get lighter colors, but when it's fully blacked out like this, it looks great. I love how we have standard fog lights here as well. I think that looks amazing. And I'll go ahead and play the turn indicators here on the front because they are fully LED on the front and the back. I think that's a nice upscale touch. Now, I will say that it is a bit disappointing that there are no turn indicators on the mirrors. You're going to have to spend for the more expensive models. On the more expensive models as well, you get the fancier headlights. We saw those fancy headlights for the first time in the Tacoma, for example, but as a result, Toyota has decided not to include turn indicators on the side mirrors, which is a bummer in my opinion. But as we come to the back here, these taillights are very, very bright. And the turn indicators that sit inside of them, they look fantastic. Of course, we have the tucked up windshield wiper. I mean, it has to be tucked up because this rear window folds down. So it's a traditional design piece for Toyota to have this window that slides down with the press of a switch. I believe this tows about 6,500 pounds. I'll fact check myself. With this 2.4 turbo, 8-speed automatic here. SR5 can come in 3 rows. This one does not have 3 rows. You can get it from the factory as well with running boards on the side that help you get in. The kids were asking where those are because they are pretty scrimpy at this stage in their life, so it's hard for them to climb into the back seat of the new 4Runner, but you can get those as optional pieces, probably from the dealer. They would probably install them at the dealer. And then we do have the optional roof rails, as you guys can see on this model. So let's go ahead and get into the back seat. Well, the kids have been snacking in here, no surprise. And if we look at the materials, are pretty basic. The only light back here is this, window switch button, so you can see it in the dark. Big dome light overhead. All right, now that we're sitting on the inside, yes, the USB-Cs are also illuminated down there, but that's it. So nothing really to talk about for lighting back here. There is, I believe, an ambient lighting package on the higher trim models, but most people are not buying their 4Runner for elite technology. They wanted to buy it for a nice truck. SUV that is fun to drive, looks badass, and is customizable. All right, window switches here, door locks, and mirror controls are all illuminated. So you look at the inside here, these seats, love these seats. You can actually get these seats in gray too, the bolder color. The black's been fine though this week. So we get on the inside. Since we do talk about lighting here, I want to mention this right here. We can control how, or the throw of the beams, how high you want it or how low you want it with this dial here. So I love having that. Last Toyota, I think I saw that in, maybe in the Crown Signia has that headlight control. And now this SR5 has some things on it that are not making it to the production model. So that would be heated seats here. I believe those are not on the production model of this trim level of the SR5, nor is the AC 120 volt accessory power to my understanding. So that's a bit of a disappointment. But you know, it wasn't in the press material, so I believe I'm in a pre-production model. All right, 7-inch screen here is great. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wireless. It doesn't look out of place. It doesn't look super tacked on like the 14-inch screen. Volume knob right there on the corner. And I love this 7-inch screen as well. Very easy to customize and interact with compared to the more expensive 12-inch screen. It looks a little fancier on those the more expensive models, that 12-inch screen, but it is a pain to customize it and to play with it compared to this one. Despite me driving this like a madman and sitting in car line a lot this week, idling the heck out of it, I'm still getting over 19 miles per gallon, meaning in mixed driving you should be able to get 22 miles per gallon. And there's no need for that hybrid max, or sorry, the iForce Max, in my opinion, because your fuel economy is not better, your towing's not better, you're spending more for it. What do you get out of it? Well, you get more torque, but you get more weight too, due to the motor and the battery pack in there. So I don't think the iForce Max is worth it, in my opinion. But if you guys want it, go for it. It's not a bad powertrain. It's just there's not a lot of benefits to it compared to this one. The climate control here is fantastic. It's super basic. Just a temperature dial, a fan dial, and a couple switches in there. Super straightforward. A couple USB-Cs that are illuminated over there that you guys can see. We have our 4 high, 4 low, 2 high. We're going to put it in 4 high for the 0 to 60 because the roads are a little wet this morning. And then you have different drive modes as well. So I think we're ready to start driving the new Toyota 4Runner. And I didn't talk about the steering wheel much. The steering wheel is great, very, very comfortable. It's very similar to the Tacoma steering wheel. So the buttons are all illuminated here, and easy to work with. I did forget to mention that the USB on the side of the screen is illuminated. I have my phone plugged into it. Unfortunately, that's the only data port. So if you want to plug your phone in wired, it kind of looks tacky here, but whatever. It's a 4Runner. I don't think people are going to care too much about aesthetics on the inside. They're just going to care about functionality. And yeah, it's not the most functional, but once it's plugged in, it's fine, right? It's no big deal. Can I switch to 4 high while I'm driving? I just moved it. Let's see what the screen is saying. But no start-stop engine feature, which is really, really convenient. There's no shaking of the car. When it idles really, really smooth. What's interesting is that if you're just plugging along at like idle speed, so like 5 miles an hour, foot off the brake or whatever, you feel more vibes than you do when you're completely stopped. I don't understand how that works. Maybe Toyota's changed the idling RPM or something when you're at a complete stop, but it's butter smooth, no vibrations, despite this being a 4-cylinder. When you're at a stop. So they've done some sort of magic here with this engine. I've talked about how I'm not a big fan of this engine in most of its applications. The NX for Lexus, the RX for Lexus, not a big fan of it there. It's smoother and better executed in the TX, surprisingly. The TX 350. What else is it in? Oh, it's in the Highlander. I preferred the old V6 and most of those models. So what Toyota's done here is really surprising, because it seems like this engine was designed for trucks, not crossovers. It's got a real long stroke, seemingly. It feels like a diesel engine, so you get tons of torque all throughout the rev range. Oh yeah, I'm definitely in 4 high here as I did that U-turn. So anyways, we're going to torque brake and do a little 0 to 60. Maybe put it into sport. Wait, I don't have drive modes here. Anyways, we're just gonna torque brake. I think, okay, 7.42. I think it feels zippier when it's in two-wheel drive. All right, the problem is I don't think I'm gonna have good enough traction. All right, so let's go ahead and, actually let's pull off this side. This side looks less wet. And let's go ahead and put it in two-wheel drive. You can see it, okay, there you go, it turned off right there. So let's go ahead and torque brake here. Oh yeah, no problems with traction. Yeah, it feels a bit zippier in two-wheel drive, even though the 0 to 60 was about the same, but my 0 to 100 was quicker, 100 kilometers per hour. So 0 to 60 in 7.45, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.84. So it's about a 7.5 second 0 to 60, but this vehicle, it's not about its 0 to 60 performance is what's impressive. It's like you just have all that torque all the time, seemingly. It doesn't have to do a bunch of downshifts. There's no turbo lag. When I'm driving this through traffic, it's an absolute slayer. It flies through traffic. Just press the pedal down and I'm gone. And it has all the acceleration really I could ever dream for in a 4Runner, despite this not being, you know, the more expensive hybrid model, okay? And throwing this into the turns, I don't know why this handles as well as it does. It's so much fun to drive, and I typically don't think trucks are that much fun to drive. Truck-based SUVs, like, I like the feel, I like sitting up high, I like the more rigid truck feeling, but somehow they've made this so fun to drive. It doesn't feel like the Tacoma or the Land Cruiser, really. The Land Cruiser is full-time 4x4, so that might have something to do with it. In this car, and I gotta turn the heat down, I'm frying. In this SUV, since I can be in rear-wheel drive all the time if I want to be, I really like its driving dynamics. It feels really light. It feels like a sports car, and I know it's not a sports car, but it actually feels like a lifted sports car. It feels super solid, super stable. The ride quality here, though, is not a sports car. It's better because it's soft and it handles all the imperfections in the road. Like, this is one of the more enjoyable cars to drive for every day. I call it a car. I just lumped it in there with everything. Then just about every car I've driven in recent memory. Okay, the Ioniq 5N had its benefits over this, but that's a completely different car. But the fact that I'm even mentioning it here, and why am I mentioning it? I'm just thinking of cars I've already driven in 2025. That's a new blank slate for me. And it's so much fun to drive. I'll just say that. I really enjoy the new 4Runner, and I probably need to have a little bit of defrost going on. So let's talk about the lighting performance here. We're just on low beams. Again, these are not the upscale beams that you get on like the Limited or the Platinum or the TRD Pro, whatever, you know, all the fancy trims. I have great lights here. My high beams are on. I forgot that they're automatic, so let's turn those off. Whoa, the low beams are really good too. And when I put my low beams on, it actually puts on my my fog lights. Unfortunately, I don't think I can have my fog lights on with my high beams. I don't think it's going to give me that option. All right, but these low beams are really, really good. Let's see here. There's the fog lights right there. Maybe you can see me turning them on, but it really does a good job brightening the sides of the vehicle and the first 10 feet or so in front of me. All right, and then the high beams were fantastic. No weirdness and patches of light missing. The uniformity was great. The spread was great. The reach was really far, distance-wise and height-wise. So the lights here are A+. Don't think you need to spend more on the fancy lights, unless you like because the fancier lights, I don't think they're going to perform better. They just have more they have decent daytime running lights that this does not have. And then it also has cooler turn indicators on the front, which turn amber. But it's not good. I wouldn't say, and the fact is, if you really wanted to, you could always modify your headlights on your 4Runner aftermarket if you want fancier daytime running lights. But I wouldn't touch these lights, to be honest, because they perform perfectly. I didn't talk much about comfort of the 4Runner in my daytime review. Yes, there's hard touch materials everywhere, but not where your body comes in contact unless you like to have your arm out the window. So let's go ahead and throw my arm out the window, and it's fine because your elbow here, what is this? I used to be, I got an A in my anatomy and physiology class in college, but the bony part of your elbow, you know, the funny bone area, what is that? That would be your ulna, the top portion of your ulna, I guess. That's sticking outside of the window, so it's not coming in contact with anything. So even though it's hard touch up here, it's really, really comfortable because you're able to chicken wing your elbow outside of the truck. But your armrest down here is padded nicely on the door. And then your armrest over here for the center console is padded too nicely. So for arm comfort, it's great. I also like resting my hand on the shifter here. Feels very natural. And this cloth seat is fantastic. My butt's comfortable, my back's comfortable. I have that electronic lumbar control, but again, that might be a pre-production thing carrying over. So another thing I want to talk about, if you missed my daytime review, is how solid the truck feels. This feels way more solid than a Tacoma. It feels more solid than a Land Cruiser or Lexus GX 550. This feels like the best built F platform vehicle from Toyota. It's built in the Tahara plant in Japan, where they build many Lexus models. The Land Cruiser, I think some of them are built at that Tahara plant. The GX is built there, but for some reason the GX just doesn't feel as solid as this. I don't know why. There's more vibes that come through the cabin, especially when you rev out that twin turbo V6 in the GX. When I rev out this 4-cylinder turbo, I'm never bothered by its buzziness or anything. In fact, I'm just go straight here. I'm always happy with it. I love the turbo sound that it makes. And just going over the highway there was pretty bumpy, but the 4Runner just gobbles it up. Nothing bothers this vehicle. It just handles everything in stride, whether you want to drive it like a sports car throughout traffic, or if you are just cruising in comfort. It has a very, very comfortable ride and a very safe feeling to it. I did not want to, I mentioned this in my daytime review, I did not have high expectations for the new 4Runner. It is pretty, anytime you kill a V6 or have a completely new vehicle compared to the old 4Runner, and the 5th gen 4Runner was amazing. Felt super solid. The hydraulic steering was great. It's just the transmission was super dated. The engine, it wasn't perfect, but it was bulletproof. And for some people, that's all that matters is bulletproof, and which I totally get. We just don't know the reliability of this turbo yet. This turbo 4-cylinder, but this is better than the old 4Runner objectively on so many levels. Handling, ride quality, steering feels close. No, this is electric power steering assist, but it comes actually really close to the feel of the hydraulic steering. So I'm happy with everything about the new 4Runner, except the pricing of all the other trim levels besides the SR5. I just don't understand why they're so expensive. This is the one to get, and then if you guys want to modify it. That's great. That's what these things, this is a blank canvas. SR5 is a blank canvas for modification. All right, so I'm gonna end it there. I don't want to get rid of this vehicle. This has been one of the more enjoyable vehicles to drive. I've had the Murano this week as well, which is really, really good. SU or crossover. It's very luxurious. Nissan did a great job with it, but once I finished the review on that, I was driving this every single opportunity I could. The 4Runner is that good. Like I said, I had low expectations. I didn't think it could touch the new 4Runner, or sorry, the old 4Runner, the 5th gen 4Runner. And I wasn't impressed with the Land Cruiser completely, or the Lexus GX completely, due to some rattles in those vehicles, weird vibrations, sometimes ride quality is not great. The hybrid in the Land Cruiser, it shifts rough a lot. And I don't have any of that weirdness going on here. This just feels like it's built from granite. This 4-cylinder turbo. They've hit it out of the park with how they've tuned it here. So I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure, if you guys are interested in the new 4Runner, go drive one. I think you guys will really like it. I drive a lot of cars, and this one sits at the top of the list for just cars I enjoy to drive, trucks, SUVs, anything, whatever. Any new vehicle, I really enjoy driving the new 4Runner. So let me know what you guys think. If you bought the new 4Runner, you're thinking about it, I'd love to see you guys sound off in the comment section what your thoughts are. And yeah, it's early in the year, but this is probably, the 4Runner is probably going to make its way into the top 10 vehicles that I review this year. I have a hard time finding a lot of vehicles that are going to dethrone this thing. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and peace.